Hi guys, welcome to SmilesStyle.com. I, of course, am the legendary Smiles. Peep game. Subscriber requested video. Today I get to read a poem called Tomino's Hell. Basically, from what I've gathered, it's supposed to be a poem that when read aloud in Japanese, that the reader receives seriously bodily harm or injury or death within 2 to 5 days of it being read out loud. So you know what I'm going to do, right? Alright. Now, here's the thing about it. I tried to do research on the history of Tomino's Hell because it's pretty new to me. They keep coming out with these new fads and trends when it comes to this type of stuff. And all the research I've done keeps bringing me back to the same website, Creepypasta. Now, just the name of the site alone, Creepypasta, discredits everything. Like you can't threaten me with something that comes from Creepypasta. Well, it was on Creepypasta. Apparently, this is a poem that comes from an anime show or a manga comic or something like that. And this poem is from that show or that manga, whatever it was, whatever entertainment medium it originally comes from. That's what it was. And they put it on Creepypasta because Creepypasta is a collection of spooky shit. Most of it's fictional or whatever. And that's the thing, like, I really don't see how a poem just being read aloud. Let's take spells and curses from the beginning. Let's go all the way back. Let's say spells and curses. What are they? Basically, it's some shit that happens after you do or say some shit. That's what a spell or a curse is. When you break it down to its nuts and bolts, what's a spell? A spell is something that happens after you say or do some shit. What's a curse? A curse is something that happens after you say or do some shit. That's what a spell and a curse basically is. A blessing is the same thing. What's a blessing? A blessing is some shit that happens after you say or do some shit. So basically, curses, blessings, and spells are just some shit that happens after you say or do some shit. But not... like, it's supposed to happen metaphysically. You see what I'm saying? Because I can say or do some shit and get an immediate effect. I can take this pillow and say I'm moving the pillow, then physically move it over here. That wouldn't be considered a spell, even though I say, all right, I'm about to cast a spell. After I say I'm going to move the pillow's going to move. Watch. I'm going to move the pillow. Technically, that was a spell. Here's why. Even though I moved it physically with my arms, I said I was going to do it. I said something out loud. The spell's activation phrase was, I'm going to move the pillow. And then after I said I'm going to move the pillow actually moved. Granted, I moved it with my arms. Like I commanded, my brain commanded my arms to grab the pillow and put it over here. But technically, the spell worked. Because that's what a spell really is. You say some shit, you say a phrase, and there's supposed to be an immediate effect. Here's a spell. I'm going to get drunk. And presto alakazam, I'm going to get drunk. After that sets in. So, technically, people will say, but no, that's not a real spell, or that's not a real curse, because it's supposed to have some sort of metaphysical telekinesis type effect, meaning that when I say I'm going to move the pillow, it's supposed to happen automatically without me physically altering. That's what people's perception of it is. Meaning that if I say I'm going to move the pillow's supposed to float without any physical connection, I guess. Like it's supposed to float telekinesis. It's supposed to float automatically or some sort of supernatural thing. But when you take most spells, I wonder how does it work? Like the movie's perception of spells and stuff. Like when you watch like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or The Craft or something, you know, the witchcraft movie. It makes me wonder how a spell is, how they imagine it's supposed to work. Do you really have to say something out loud for it to work? Like let's say I want to transform a turtle into a rock. All right. Do I have to say a phrase to make that happen? Like a turtle. If I had, first of all, do you even need powers? That's the thing about this poem that kills me. The way they present it is like, hey, if anybody reads this poem, something bad will happen to them. But when you look at other spells and curses, Don't you have to be experienced in mysticism and witchcraft for it to work? Because I've seen movies where it's like you can't cast a certain type of spell unless you practice, unless you have some sort of ethereal power or some sort of chi. You can't just say some shit and shit happens unless there's different levels of spells and spells and curses and stuff. Like on this level, any dumbass can quote a few words and it'll really happen. But some spells are so complicated you need to be ninth level mystic mage elf summoner or some shit for it to happen. You know, maybe there's different levels of spells and curses. So maybe this Tomino's Hell poem is such a low level curse that any jackass who reads Japanese sloppily, it'll work on them. And why is that? How come all the negative shit seems to work for anybody, but all the positive shit, you need to be experienced in it? Like, they have, like, they say anybody can go in the mirror and say Bloody Mary. Anybody can summon Candyman. Anybody can say this poem. Anybody can walk on a crack and it'll break their mother's back. Basically, the negative stuff, the negative curses, when that happens, it can happen to anybody no matter their experience level in mysticism. Whereas if you want something positive to happen, like alchemy turning anything into gold, you have to be experienced and knowledge and fifth level this and that. So why the positive shit you have to be good at, but the negative shit anybody can just fucking do and it works? I thought that's kind of like imbalance. Like, oh, if I want to do something like this, I need to gather up all my chi and make it happen, whereas I don't want this to happen, but it can happen just by accident, by stepping on a crack and then my mom's back breaks. Like, that's kind of imbalanced. That's fucked up, actually. And do you need an item for spells to work? Because I noticed like there's like movies they have the wizard or the warlock or the witch needs like an animate object, an enchantment. You know, they need a totem, a talisman, or something, or a magic wand or a staff. It's like they need some sort of antenna, I guess, or some sort of medium to channel the power for the spell to work. And who decides what it is? Like, why does Gandalf have a staff and Harry Potter has a wand? And why do you need a talisman or a totem or something for it to work? Like, is it to channel something? And do you actually have to say words again? Like, in what language? Why does language matter? Why did magic, like, I noticed that some of the Harry Potter spells, I guess they're in Latin. But even in Latin, you're just saying what the spell is. So if I wanted to say I want to turn the turtle into a rock, I'd just say like Turtleus Rockets or whatever the fuck it is in Latin and it would work. But how does the magic know that that's what I'm trying to say? Like, how does the magic pick a language? Like, how do you, shouldn't it really work on your intent in your brain? Meaning that if let's say I'm deaf, but I'm a wizard, but I know sign language. Couldn't I sign the shit and it still work? Because it's really not based on what you're saying verbally. It's pretty much what you're thinking of what you're trying to do. You're just saying the command. Turn the turtle into a rocket scissors. So the guy who says it out loud, turn the turtle into a rock, should be just as effective as a person that does sign language and signs turtle into a rock. And then it works. That's what I'm thinking. Why should it matter what you say or how you say it? I'm saying that because whether I read this poem in Japanese or English, the actual content of the poem should be exactly the same if it's interpreted correctly. Like the English translation, if interpreted correctly, is exactly the same content or context as the Japanese translation. So why should which language I say it and matter if they're both the same idea that I'm trying to convey? Or does it have something to do with the pronunciation of the words? Once again, are there certain sound waves that I have to speak so the spell can activate? Like if I don't say it correctly or pronounce a word correctly, it's not going to work. And if so, why not? Different people have different accents. Because if it's really based on the frequency of your voice, like the pitch, and if you say something wrong at a certain, like if you say, like if I pronounce the I letter like I instead of E, that's going to disrupt the whole poem. Well, if that's the case, each individual person's voice would be fucked up. Like, it wouldn't work because everybody has, like, some people speak lighter than others. Some people have deeper voices. So if it's really based on the frequency and how you say a word, everybody has different frequencies anyway, so it shouldn't work. You get it? Because everybody has different voices. You'd have to say it in an exact pitch and volume and octave so it can work if it's really based on the sounds that you make when you say it and not necessarily the content of the words that you're saying. Am I making any kind of sense to anybody? I noticed that too, like voodoo. Sometimes you need ingredients for a spell or a curse to work, like the jawbone of an earthworm or the eyeballs of a jellyfish, and then you throw it into the concoction and make a stew, and I guess the aroma or whatever of the potion, and then they say Alakazam presto and some shit's supposed to happen. It's all ponderous. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. Ponderous, man. Ponderous. But, you know, I don't have nothing to do with my life, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read this Tomino's Hell poem because somebody wants me to, a subscriber wants me to, and I, for the most part, do what my subscribers ask because they're loyal. And I'm going to prove that by reading this poem, and I'm going to read it in Japanese and in English, and in 2 to 5 days, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm one of those type of guys that want something to happen. I really want something to happen. Because, I was watching Ghostbusters the other day, and they had the scene where Dana Barrett was drawn into the closet by the Zool dog. And I was telling my coworker, you know, I wish something like that would happen. Because, even though I'm a skeptic, I don't believe in ghosts, I don't believe in the supernatural, I don't believe in sentient alien beings abducting humans. I don't believe in any of it. But I want to. Like, I wish there were aliens and ghosts. And I'm the type, like, when I go home at night, I want a ghost to haunt me. Because I want to see one. Like, I want, like, to be visited by angels and demons. I want to be abducted by aliens. But the motherfuckers, like, why do aliens abduct country rural rednecks, but they don't want to come to the hood and suck up dudes from the ghetto? Like, when's the last time you ever heard somebody from the project say they got abducted by an alien? When's the last time you seen or heard of somebody in the projects reporting a UFO? Like, hey, I'm in, you know, the Calio, and right now I'm looking up and I see like a flying saucer. You never hear about the stuff in the projects. You only hear about it in like forums and stuff. I would love for the aliens to come sucking up niggas every now and then, so I believe them more than I believe the rural guy in the middle of nowhere that nobody can really talk to. It'll be more convincing to me if somebody in the projects got sucked up by an alien or haunted by, you know, what some people in the projects say their house is haunted, but why not me? Haunt my house. Abduct me. Let me see. I want to see. I want to have an out-of-body experience. Shit. You're going to the wrong people. Poltergeists, ghosts, spirits, evil or good spirits, angels, demons, aliens. Come see your boy, man. Come see me. I want to... Hey, hi. It's nice to meet you. Whatever. Dude, like, haunt me or poltergeist me or possess me, whatever the fuck y'all do. Don't probe me, though. I'm cool with the abduction part, but no anal probes. Anal probes... negative consequences for you. If an alien was to abduct me and you anally probe me, that would be your last visit to Earth. I promise you that. Alright? Other than that, abductions, hauntings, possessions, that's cool. Holla at me. I'm inviting it. Come see me. Anyway, I'm about to read this poem. I'm going to read it in Japanese and in English so there's no confusion. Then I'm going to check back in a week and let you know how nothing happened to me. And I think... this has been done before, but nobody does it like me. Alright, so I'm only one sip away. Out.